is Wolverine All Access.
This 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 is Wolverine All Access.
Welcome to Wolverines All Access, your inside look into Bridgton Academy athletics. We're a week away from Christmas, and as you can see behind me, the winter weather is already here. We have a very unique episode for you this time. Our BA Experience program gives our students the opportunity to get out and try something new every Wednesday afternoon for the entire quarter. The activity I led this quarter was this production of All Access. Thus, what you're about to see was conceptualized by the students in this group, and they even helped produce it. So sit back and enjoy. We'll catch up with the basketball team, discover a little bit about the history of Bridgton Academy hockey, and meet our athletes of the month. But first, let's check out the highlights as the fall season wrapped up.
Parents' Weekend proved to be the spark that the boys needed. After beginning the season 1-3, the team tore off and rolled off 6 wins in a row for head coach Chad Walker and finished the season 7-3. The first to fall was Merrimack College. The Wolverines came out gunning, and a defensive battle, BA came away with a 14-7 victory. We headed down to Bryant University next, and as a big Bryant team came out, we were not intimidated. We hit them in the mouth, as it is known in football jargon, and breathed through with a 34-0 shutout. 2 Ivy League opponents were up next in Brown and Yale universities. It was a tale of 2 games, in both 1-point victories. Against Brown, we played well enough not to lose, but by all accounts we were a far better team on the field, ultimately taking a 19-18 victory. Against Yale, we stole victory from the hands of defeat as a last-minute touchdown reception by Jared Asuma and a made extra point by James DiMartini elevated us to the 7-6 win. At that point, it was full steam ahead as we finished out the season in northern New England. The team rallied around a severe injury to tight end Bobby Paul and took down a motivated Norwich University team 24-13 and finished out the year by dominating Dartmouth College to a tune of 20-6. The team recently held the 7th annual Black and Gray Showcase in Portland. Over 40 different colleges sent coaches to scout the Wolverines, and early returns are very favorable. Finally, the team held its end-of-the-season banquet, and several awards were presented. Though there is still work to be done, the boys had a great season. After the Parents' Weekend washout, the baseball team set their sights on finishing out the season strong and making their way into the NECBA playoffs. After finishing out the regular season with a 4-2 record, the Wolverines earned the number 3 seed in the playoffs. The boys squared off in the first-round game versus Harvard, who had beaten us earlier in the season by a 4-3 score. This time the Wolverines had their revenge, opening up on the Crimson and taking them down 9-2. The 2 previous times the Wolverines had been in this position, returning for day 2 and entering into the semifinals. This year the opponent would be Holy Cross. It is said that to win a championship you need to win at least 1 ugly playoff games to prove yourself. This was the game as the boys were down 7-4 heading into the 7th inning. They rattled off 6 runs and held Holy Cross scoreless in the bottom of the 7th to win the game 10-7. That set up a match with Boston University in the final game. In rainy conditions, the Terriers were no match for the Wolverines' pitching staff, and the hitters kept on their pace, and BA took the title with a 10-1 victory. This was the first time that BA has won the NECBA title since joining the league in 2008. The soccer team came off the field after Parents' Weekend with optimism for the second half of the season. It was a tough road ahead, and though they finished with a 4-3-1 record to end the season, there was a lot to be pleased with. Bowdoin College proved to be the first bump in the road. We had beaten them at home by a score of 1-0 earlier in the season, and this time they got us 1-0. Coach Perrin said that it was mainly because we just couldn't shake off the bus legs, and by the time we really got our minds into the game, it was too late. A trip to Kents Hill proved to be frustrating as they packed 11 players into the defensive half and held us to only a couple of quality shots. Fortunately, one of them found the back of the net and we walked away with a 1-0 victory. A return home was just what we needed, and we took care of business against Central Maine Community College 10-0. We finished off the week with a trip to West Point, New York, and played very well against a very strong Army prep team and came back with a 4-1 win. The final 4 games featured some of the best prep competition in New England. Though we had some of our best showings in recent years, we just could not find a way to earn victories against perennial powers South Kent and Phillips Exeter, dropping 1-0 decisions to both. We took care of Hebron by a score of 4-1, and in a typical New England fall day at Brewster Academy, we forged ahead in a freezing wind on Lake Winnipesaukee to earn a 1-1 tie. The final tally for the Wolverine soccer team was 10-5-1, which was the best mark by a first-year coach in over 15 years. The lacrosse team entered into showcase season with some momentum following Parents' Weekend. After taking down Dean College and the University of New Hampshire, we headed to Springfield College and squared off against Team 413 in a pre-showcase exhibition. With a bunch of college coaches in attendance, the Wolverines showed their talents. Shortly after that, we headed to Harvard to take part in the Crimson Showcase. Though the scoreboard might not have indicated it, we were tremendously successful. To date, we have over a dozen players already signed on to play collegiately. As we move into the winter, the focus has shifted into preparation for the spring season. Workouts and skill development have been the order of the day as we look forward to what might be the hardest spring schedule we've played in many years. Though the basketball season is still early, there's tremendous optimism. Heading into the winter break, the team carried a 10-6 record, including winning the Sun Youth Holiday Classic held in Montreal, Canada, as well as big wins over highly touted Fork Union Military Academy and Notre Dame Prep. League action heats up when the boys return from break as BA marches on in hopes of their 5th NEPSAC championship. Inconsistency has been the name of the game for the prep hockey team. Though they are playing the toughest schedule a program is known, they just can't seem to put a winning streak together. There have been plenty of highlights, however. A sweep at home of Academy St. Louis was the first time that any Bridgton hockey team has swept the Quebec school. They had 3 wins in the Next Level Showcase, which features some of the region's top under-18 talent. Finally, we went 1-1-1 in the Worcester Academy Jamboree, which features some very difficult opponents from the prep school level. The boys get a well-deserved break and then come back to New England to square off in the Eastern Junior Hockey League Showcase, where they will face several difficult Empire League teams. The junior hockey team stumbled out of the gate after Parents' Weekend, but they have pulled themselves together in a major way. After losing their first 4, they went on to win their next 7. Just before break, they proved to be up to the challenge as they tackled the Hartford Wolfpack Showcase and devoured the Atlantic Junior Hockey League competition and won 5 in a row, leaving campus on a high note. Highlights included sweeping a weekend in Lake Placid, New York against National Sports Academy, a convincing 7-3 victory over Stansted Prep, and big wins over in-state rivals Kents Hill and Hebron Academy, which put us in good shape to retain the Powers Fabello Cup, which goes to the winner of the BA Hebron Series.
Hey, what's up, BA? It's basketball season. We just caught up with Coach Lesure and a few of the guys.
And this is what they think.
Well, 15 years goes in the blink of an eye, and I think that not only is every single season has its ups and downs and seems like an entire lifetime all by itself. I think when you start looking at 15 years, you know, you get you had a little bit of everything, but fortunately at Bridgton Academy, most of it has been filled with sweet memories and less of the other stuff. Best memory of coaching at BA, you know what, I don't know that I have any one. I think the best memory you have, the ones that stand out to me are coaching the individuals or teams that end up fulfilling their potential. So meaning that high achieving kid who does maybe more than what you expect him to do. We have a kid from this past year who's walked on Division II at the University of Massachusetts Lowell, and he's starting. And so they took a little bit of a chance on him. He took some risk going where he's gone, and you know, it's a feel-good story because he's doing so well. But meanwhile, 04-05, so almost 10 years ago, in BA's first championship, that was a group that probably in New England was picked no better than being maybe the 3rd, 4th, or 5th best team in New England, and we won 18 games in a row at the end of our season, and kind of worked our way right past Andre Blatch, who plays for the Wizards, and some other awfully talented guys and teams to win our first championship. So I would probably be remiss if I didn't say, you know, that first championship here is pretty special too. But you know, in the scheme of things, not any more special than any team that I've had that has done a really good job, championship or not, or any individual like I mentioned from last year who has not only maybe exceeded your expectations by just a little, but just done it the way you hope any kid would do it. I think the outlook is good. I think it's a team that is completely going to, the success or not is going to be based on how well they come together and function as a team. I think that it's balanced. I don't think there's a star, so to speak, at any particular position. So, some years maybe you have a go-to guy or, something like that kind of sets you apart or is the key to your success. And I think the key this year is truly how our team functions together. I think that's the go-to element of our team, is whether or not we play together, obviously how hard they play. And then learning to play in game competition. In prep school, successful teams oftentimes are not the most talented teams, and frankly there are more talented teams out there in our league than we are. But as I kind of hinted at with earlier examples, we don't. Prep school, I think chemistry is more important than talent. I think character is, oftentimes plays a role in how guys endure a season. As you know, being away at prep school is not the easiest thing in the world for anybody. So these kids at other schools go through some of the same things that you guys are going through. So I think that's an X factor, how kids manage the year, and if they're taking care of business in the classroom and they're taking care of business, in the dorms or in school life in general. Now I think the basketball court is a fun place to be and a competitive place to be, and maybe you have more success, So that's what I would say is, I know the bottom line, we're in a hornet's nest because our league is typically, it's usually referred to as the best sub-college varsity league in the country. It's called that for a reason, we are going to have to progress very quickly and very well to, be right in the mix. Well, I would say that from a chemistry standpoint, I think it at this particular point, I think the chemistry is as good as most of our good teams. It's better than some of the teams that I would consider not quite as successful teams here. I think the chemistry is better. And then it would, obviously, at the time we're doing it right now, I think it's a little too early to get carried away with it, but I think that's a strength of this team. I think they are pretty together on and off the court. I think that those relationships are genuine. I don't think they're phony. I think those relationships, and as our team, will get challenged and hardened by adversity, because that's typically, unlike high school, in prep school you're playing teams that can beat you, and you're playing difficult road games, and so a lot of times the way a team comes together depends on how you manage, not just the good times, but the tougher times, and so if I was guessing, I would say, guess what, our chemistry is really good, and it's going to be an effort execution thing. Like, do guys really understand how hard we have to play, which you guys know from your own sports, it is closer to a college level than high school. I think our guys have already seen that difference, and then it's, how do you execute in competition.
Different way was me and Drew, he white, I'm black. I'm straight, he gay. It's fun.
Yeah, you bring up that on champion.
Nah, but seriously though, man, this basketball thing, it's fun, man.
Yeah, we're all getting along.
AJ, what do you think about the team?
I love it. I mean, everyone, ELE, man, everyone love everybody. I think that rule applies to us. Like, none of us fight, argue, nothing, so.
We coming along strong, and it's the beginning of the season, and I think the NEPSAC gonna have to look out for us. We're gonna be like the real underdogs and stuff. But we gonna try to make some stuff happen. I know we got a lot of work to do, but it's not like we can't do it. So y'all keep coming out now. Y'all keep supporting us. I appreciate that, yo.
Bridgton's been playing hockey for almost 100 years.
In this segment, we took a brief look at the history of Bridgton hockey.
It was the outdoor rink, no Zamboni, and we had about a 12 to 18 game schedule, and it really took place only from January to probably the 1st of February, some maybe the second week or third week of February. It always consisted of a Bowdoin JV. I believe there was a couple of Lewiston teams that we used to consistently play. I think Bates JVs or Bates Club for a long time was there. So it was kind of in a state of not limbo, but it really was fitting in with the physical plant. The physical plant didn't allow it to really expand a whole lot more without it being quite a burden to the program itself. The program needed commitment from the school to take that next step and move out of that, that probably what I would call a minimal program type thing, just meeting the minimal expectations of the kids. I came back in '81, and there had been a small growth of maybe about 5 to 7 games. I think we were playing a pretty good 18-game schedule at that point in time. The negative to that was still we were on the outdoor rink. We were still trying to play home games, which in its concept, it's a great idea. There were wonderful nights with the outdoor rink and the kids all excited about seeing a home hockey game, and they were so sparse, only having 1 or 2, our kids would get so excited. We would go out of our way to create hot cocoa stands and things like that for them. And a lot of them never got that close. If you don't remember, and I mean, I'm going to give some real background here, an outdoor rink, and most of it was uncovered on the sides, and even the back ends, the 2 ends, the shooting ends, were chain link. So I mean, our students themselves could get as up close and personal to the game as they might have ever been able to do. Most of them coming probably from rinks that had glass, at that point in time. So it was great when the weather cooperated and everything was together. It was a great adventure. I sent a letter to every prep school in the Northeast that played hockey, and told them that we would play them with 24 hours notice. If I had an opening in the schedule, I would play them, but it would always have to be at their place. And that, of course, helped most of them, because it gave them it drove fits for poor Doug Avery, because I was always screwing with the bus schedule or whatever it happened to be. But that helped. We ended up being ranked 4th in New England in Division II, making the New England Prep playoffs for the first time, as far as I know, in the school's history. And the kids were excited, and I was the head coach, and I was for the next 4 years. We went to New England Prep Division II playoffs 3 out of those 4 years. I was able to place, I think, 4 or 5 kids in the New England Prep All-Star games. Our name was constantly in HNIB, and I think we became a viable alternative. I think I got a little bit more accolades than I needed to. I remember my first year I was the New England Prep School All-Star coach, and I had a wonderful opportunity there to go down and coach at Bright Arena with the North-South game of the New England Prep Schools. Both Division I and Division II play together. And in my locker room was Tony Amonte, Steve Hines, and Jeremy Roenick. All of which anybody who knows anything about hockey, and there were a couple other guys who went on to Providence and a couple other places, they were outstanding. It's kind of like you throw the puck out and you look good right away. And I had a couple of guys who played on that team as well, played on that all-star team, a kid named Jeff Ray who went down to UConn and did very, very well. And I think that was the second birth of hockey for Bridgton.
I think the biggest challenge for us was, for me coming here, coaching, we would pack vans, which was quite interesting to say the least. So basically what you had to do is you had to pack up. Hebron's a half hour away, you travel a half hour, usually give them a half hour to get ready, and then 2-hour practice, and then half hour to do whatever they do after practice, and then a half hour home. So I mean, all total, you were looking at 4 hours a day. And that was a challenge to begin with. The guys, obviously, they all come from high school programs where the trip was maybe 15 minutes to the rink, and that was about it. Some of them came from programs where the rink was even closer than that. So that was a process. So we would get our stuff together, we would drive over to Hebron, and then practice and have a 2-hour practice with invariably most of the Hebron team standing there. But it was a challenge. Some of the stories we used to talk about coming back. Obviously, when you're packing hockey equipment every day, up in a wood box on the top of a van. Things happen. So from time to time, we might not have packed as tightly as we should have, and I'm just driving down, coming back to right through Harrison, and I look in the rearview mirror, and something was just throwing sparks off the back of the van, and we pull, all the players in the back are yelling at me, Coach, pull over, something's going on back there. So I thought it was like brakes or something like that. We pull over, and a bag had fallen off the back of the box, and basically somebody's skate blade was kind of dragging in the street, and the sparks are just flying out. So I kind of looked at the kid. We figured out whose bag it was. He was kind of bummed. We picked up the skate. It was usable, but we joked about it because we said you probably have to sharpen that one a couple of times, after to get. And and then the joke of the year after that was he always seemed to skate one leg higher than the other, It was fun, but yet very, very challenging too, because they missed study hall. We were going at night, and we had to do study hall in the afternoon every day. So, you talk about devotion to a program. These guys were putting in 6 hours every day, 2 hours of study hall in the afternoon, packing the van, so on and so forth. And it was tough. It was tough to say the least. But I think in a way too, it also forced them to kind of get as quickly as they could gel together as a team. So it had its ups and its downs. Yeah, like I said, the rink was a huge piece of it. I think when we started playing, we were in D2 prep at the time when I started coaching here. Very challenging in terms of the opponents that you're playing. You're playing some very good schools. I think the minute we got the rink, we started kind of finding some kids and then really showing them that piece and saying, hey, this is home. And I think in Hebron, that's something that we always lost. We never had that home feeling at a rink piece, because you look around the banners. There's Hebron. There's you didn't have a BA banner up there. You didn't have your locker room. You were always in somebody else's locker room. So it became a piece where when we got our home rink, they're walking up the hill. The hardest part was walking up the hill. In the afternoon, they felt like they had a place that they could call home. When you talk about the barn, hey, we're in our home barn here. You had some changes in the prep world as well. They no longer went. The D2 teams were becoming less and less. People were moving to go play D1 prep hockey more and more. You had some junior teams going at the same time, and the rink gave us an opportunity to kind of say, hey, here's a place where you can call home and you can come up and play hockey. In the same time, we had changed coaches. Kevin Zivkak had moved on, and Jamie Prince came in, and I know that he huge proponent of moving to juniors. Kind of saw that as a way to get into the junior programs. The preps, we were always an independent. So we had a hard time. It got to the point where we were having a hard time scheduling some prep games, just because everybody's moving to D1. We were still independent. We spent a year as an independent D1. Again, still struggling with scheduling some games. So I think that natural shift into the junior program happened at that moment in time, where the rink was kind of the first cog, and then what was happening politically within prep school hockey kind of helped us just to say, hey, why don't we just move to a junior piece kind of thing.
It's time to meet our athletes for the month. We have 2 sets from October and early winter.
Evan Brown, Ashburnham, Massachusetts. I play baseball. I'm a center fielder.
Evan led the team in batting in October with a .415 average, led the team in RBIs with 20, and slugging percentage with .560. Additionally, he showed some outstanding athleticism in center field, making some really amazing catches and a huge arm. If that weren't enough, he's also a tireless worker off the field and earned a 3.58 GPA in the first quarter.
My name is Devin Lofton from Fairfield, Connecticut. Play football, and I'm a running back and a cornerback.
In the center of the football team's success for the month of October was Devin Lofton. As a running back, he averaged 6 yards per carry and 10 yards per pass reception. Then there's the special teams, where he was a go-to guy as a kick returner. And if that weren't enough, he also played quite a bit of defensive back when the injury bug hit. The field isn't the only place where Devin's impact is felt. He is a first one in, last one out mentality in practice, and he earned a 3.0 GPA for the first quarter.
My name is John Hart. I'm on the junior hockey team. I play right wing, and I'm from Bridgton, Massachusetts.
John has been simply outstanding for the junior team. Anyone who saw him dangle the entire Rothsay team during the month of December knows exactly what I'm talking about. He has been a go-to guy for the early season. This is evidenced by his 9 goals and 7 assists through the first 20 games.
Ethan Doywell from Earl, New Hampshire, center.
Ethan comes from the prep team where he led the team in minutes played. He plays on all special teams as well as logging a ton of minutes at full strength. This team captain has notched 3 goals and 18 assists in the first 23 games, and if anyone saw him step up for the junior team, you would have noticed how his play elevates the tempo. His smart play and hard-nosed attitude has been a cornerstone for the prep hockey team.
Thanks for watching.
Wolverine All Access.
I hope to see you again next time.
To the crib.
Guys, don't make me smile.
This is Wolverine All Access.
This is Wolverine All Access.
Should I be serious about this?
Whatever you want.
This is Wolverine All Access.
You say Bridgton's been playing hockey for almost 100 years, and I'll say in this segment we took a look at what?
We took a brief look at the history of BA hockey.
Yeah, I'll say Wolverine All Access.
What did I say?
Hope you join us and say, Kevin can say till next time. Ned's not even in it. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll just like give a thumbs up.
Yeah, Ned,
Yeah, do it.
We should do that. That'd be funny.